Time for the women to take center stage here at Bill Crothers Secondary School as we continue on with the 2024 OSBA Fall Showcase. It's Low Ellen Prep versus J. Addison. Again, we watched J. Addison last night take on their first opponent, the first games without the Smith twins, Courtney and Heidi, spending time at Toledo this year in the NCAA. We did have a chance to speak with Sydney Scrobot earlier in the booth. She let us know how her summer went, the things she focused on. Spent some time training with Team Ontario, wasn't part of the team, as we have a backcourt violation just 4 seconds into the game, and already Sarah Guignard of Low Ellen Prep comes up gingerly kind of working around looks like a hip issue. And Low Ellen in the white jerseys going from left to right on your screen on the offensive now. Jay Addison in the blacks. Scrobot behind the back. Gives it up. Wignard working baseline. Met there by Amaya Moses, who had a great game yesterday. The corner three up and good. Alessia Valili.
I'm intrigued to see Scrobot too. She mentioned how she's falling more into like a point guard role this season for Llewellyn. So it's going to be interesting to see how she handles the ball and really how she's able to be that playmaker.
Valili looking to give it up to Violet Humble, who collected the rebound on the defensive end. Humble working top side. That one knocked out of bounds by Abrielle Grant-Caracas, who had a great game last night for Jay Addison. Inbound pass finds Humble. Ignores the screen downhill, 4 seconds on the shot clock. Foul called on Zane Henry. Scrobot loses the handle. Papanasasiu Thomas gives it up. Blocked by Sydney Scrobot on Zane Henry. And now here's Humble across the line into the corner. Valili dribbling with her left. Scratch that. Kirsten Goudreau with the ball, looking for Scrobot down low. Scrobot has a hard time corralling it. Gets it to the corner, then back inside where Jay Addison was waiting to swarm. It's Sienna Papanasasiu Thomas with a nice spin move, kicking it out. Grant-Caracas from the baseline. Another block, Sydney Scrobot.
I would have loved to see that spin move work. The problem is that she did it right into the other defender. When you're going on a fast break situation, to spin like that, it's almost like a spinning top. It's just hard to control. But, I mean, Papanasasiu Thomas, she has the ability to really be a true playmaker. I just think in that moment, she just probably would have done better to pull it out.
Last touch by Kieran Brar, and Low Ellen Prep maintained possession on the offensive side. 3-0 still off of a three from Alessia Valili. That three well long. Grant-Caracas has one ahead, decides to keep it, wait for teammates to come into the picture. Now works to her left into the paint. Henry corrals it near the timeline, working on Humble. Fakes a shot, works to the left, fakes the pass. Contact made as Humble helps up the opponent, Zane Henry.
To talk about the touch points for Jay Addison, for those who weren't watching the game yesterday, one of the things that we were kind of both echoing from each other is we wanted to see a bit more aggression coming from Moses. How obviously everyone from last season should know Jay Addison was a powerhouse of a team. We've already kind of talked about it at length, how they have a bit more of a different roster this season. But with Moses, she knows what that mentality is like and how to get to the level of a championship. She already knows what that feeling is like. So there was a bit of an aggression that I was missing seeing from her play style yesterday. So I'm hoping she can adopt that a bit more on the offensive end today.
Right now fighting down low with Sarah Guinard. Blocking foul is going to be called on Abrielle Grant-Caracas. Yeah, Amaya Moses really turned it on in the second half in terms of her aggression, and we were joking about saying that the broadcast is being fed into the huddle.
You know, it's like we know what we're talking about when we say something and then it kind of gets implemented a bit later. I think we do.
I
You know?
felt good about Fiona Madigan, backing up our points.
Yes.
Here's Moses on the run, loses the handle. Pass back to the open 3 shooter who steps in, but launches that one wide.
Also, another thing that I kind of want to see from both sides that I haven't been seeing is crashing the boards. You take your shot, yes, but the team has to be there to get the offensive board. Everybody just watched the ball as it slowly rolled out of bounds. That could have been an offensive opportunity that you took back to the net.
Ellie Thove in the corner. Gives it up to Kirsten Goudreau, looking for the entry pass, but that's off the mark. Grant Caracas, Papanasasiu Thomas from deep, off the front of the iron. A couple of bodies there going for the rebound. Here's Moses, pivoting. No good, Skrobot with the rebound. Pushing the pace. Not a great decision. Probably should have slowed that one down, and I bet she's thinking to herself to get composed, take her time, and focus on the playmaking she knows she's able to do. Grant Caracas picks up the dribble. Papanasasiu Thomas, that pass intercepted by Sove. Humble now working into the middle. Keeps the dribble alive. Attacks, uses the backboard a little too strong. And Papanasasiu Thomas comes away with the rebound. There's a foul on the floor. Foul's going to be the second on Grant Caracas. So she'll head to the bench. In comes Kayla Thule. Ava Williams needs to take her earrings out before play can resume. Direction foul will be on Low Ellen Prep. Jay Addison with possession now. Another low-scoring first quarter. Guinard takes the foul. Papanasasiu Thomas finds a lane, takes it to the left, will go to the free throw line. Foul on Humble there.
I know we mentioned Guinard. She got the previous foul for Llewellyn. We're noticing that she's fighting hard down low against Moses. The two of them are kind of going neck for neck right now. What I do want to see, though, is rewarding her getting good positioning. She's fighting for good positioning, and she's getting it down low. She's beating Moses, but the passes are either too low or they're too far out, which then eliminates the position that she was able to get for herself. So I think what they should do maybe is a slight adjustment. Pass it to her high. That way, like you said, JJ, catch it high, keep it high, and just go for the finish. That would be a little adjustment I would make, even for herself to correct her teammates to say, hey, this is where I want the ball.
It's Guignard on the far side. Picks up the dribble. Down low, that pass intercepted by Papanasasiu Thomas, who keeps it alive but gives it right back to Low Ellen Prep. The cut, Guignard, one dribble. Off the backboard and in. Ava Williams unable to meet her at a spot to cause some havoc. Brar to the far side. Williams now. Henry driving down low. Gonna bring it back out. Baseline jumper, nothing but net. Ellie Sove working on a primary defender, trying to get past that first line of defense. Patience does, calls her own number, and gets the 2 points. Poking, prodding, finally finding a lane. Zane Henry around the defender. Off the backboard, count the basket, and the extra point opportunity upcoming. 3:10 remaining, it's a 1-point game. Henry at the line, the extra point is good. Pushing the pace, Low Ellen Prep. Michaela Trippin to the front court. Skrobot now with the handoff. Humble working top side. Keeping it on the outside. Sove whipping it across. Gets it right back. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Scoop layup, no good. Here comes Jay Addison. Papanasasiu Thomas going to slow it down, didn't have the numbers. Now kicking it out. Amaya Moses travels. Strobot very vocal calling up the play. Really taking on that leadership role this year, as she mentioned to us here in the booth. Strobot with the screen and the roll. That pass too high. Henry comes away with it. Sewell up the court. Trying to get it to Williams. Does. Williams, reverse layup. No. Shots up from deep, off the mark, kept alive, but stepping out of bounds before. So we are under the 2-minute mark. It is a 2-point game. We are joined now in the booth, Sydney. Let's welcome in our guest.
All the way from Montreal, Quebec, representing the Cheetahs, we have Mansit Lenny making your, I don't want to say broadcasting debut. I don't want to assume that you haven't done anything like this before, but with making your debut with us, how are you feeling today? How is your mindset kind of going into your games?
I was excited. It's like my first official game with my team. You know, it's a pretty long trip to get here, so I kind of want to show off my team, play as hard as I could. Yeah, overall, very excited, very ready to play.
Going into this tournament, a lot of people have been talking about how they're kind of just really getting into the flow, understanding the full rotations with your team. Was there any games that you were able to kind of compete in before you came into this weekend, or was this kind of the first time that the full team has really been able to go through the plays as a unit?
No, we did play a couple of scrimmages ahead of time against other teams to kind of prepare for this. So it's not our first official game, but like against other teams, it is our official first game.
Papanasasiu Thomas increases the lead to 4. Walk us through a little bit of your basketball journey and what led you to kind of this point of your career and what you're looking forward to this season.
Well, I started playing basketball like for fun, grade 6 with my friends. Kind of didn't take it really too seriously until beginning of Sec 3. Played with my first civil team, Pagier. Played 2 years with them, and then Vanier came to me and they said they were interested, and this is how I got here right now.
So you got recruited. They came and said, "We need you to be a cheetah."
Need is kind of crazy. They like my energy, so I'm proud to be a cheetah.
You're from Montreal?
Yes.
And the basketball scene in Montreal, I think, has been growing year in, year out, right?
Yeah.
When you see the representation at the NBA level, the defensive guard for OKC, Lou Dort.
Yeah.
He played in the OSBA. He played at Orangeville Prep grad, and you got the CEBL has the Montreal Alliance. The BSL has the Montreal Tundra. There's just lots and lots of basketball. Have you seen that kind of grow in your time playing hoops and the fellowship there in Montreal?
Yeah, I wasn't really too into basketball, but when I started getting into it, seeing, kind of doing a little bit more research, who came from where, like people like Ludor and all that, it's like I feel like Montreal's kind of being put on the map a little more. People are looking towards us a little more, so it's been good for like our representation so far.
Hem Birch also from Montreal, I think.
I don't know.
He played for the Raptors for. I'm 99% sure. We'll have to fact check that. Let me look that up quickly, but I'm pretty sure he's from Montreal.
Well, we also look at we talk about a lot of leadership on the floor. I know with yourself, 2027 is kind of like your grad year, so you're just kind of working up to it. Would you cement yourself as more of a vocal leader, or do you say you're kind of more like a lead by example when you're on the floor?
I try to be a vocal leader as much as I can. It's one thing that I've always been good at, kind of just trying to talk to my teammates, so I try to do that, but also by example. I had a coach who's very big on that. He's like, sure, you can talk, but you got to show that you understand what you're doing as well. So I try to be a bit of both.
Another first quarter in the books. It is a 7-point lead. We've seen some low-scoring first quarters. We talked to a couple of players about kind of the first quarter and what you're looking for to get the team going. Is it a feel for the game? Do you come in with some set plays? What are the biggest kind of points that coaches tell you to get things going in that first quarter in a tournament like this?
For us, it's all about defense. He wants, like, our team is really, we get to stop, run the transition, because we're kind of a small team, I'd say, compared to other teams. But we're all very fast, very athletic. So if we can get the stops, get the transition buckets, that gets us into our game. And then the plays that we have set up kind of flow easier once we get into our zone.
I know the schedule can be pretty strenuous is probably an understatement. It's very strenuous from the start of the season all the way to the end, and it's a long season. A lot of practices, a lot of games. Is there anything that you do maybe apart from basketball that kind of allows you to have a bit of separation from the game so that way you're not so cemented in it that you kind of get lost in it? Is there something that you do to maybe center yourself so that way you can come back to each and every practicing game with even more intensity?
I don't know if you count, like, playing, like, basketball video games, I guess.
I count it.
I mean, that
Yeah,
that
playing,
definitely
like,
increases
2K
the
and
IQ
stuff.
for sure.
So kind of playing 2K, stuff like that, kind of gets me out of, like, playing basketball, but I'm still playing basketball.
Yeah.
Kind of,
We were talking to some players from the women's teams and just wondering, like, do you ever step away from the game to kind of get refreshed so that when you come back you kind of rekindle that love and the affection for the game of basketball?
every now and then, I try not to, like, step away too long to not kind of lose my flow, but sometimes just like playing a different sport, doing something different to kind of take a little break from basketball. It happens every now and then.
What's the sport of choice?
My family's very big on soccer.
Soccer, okay.
So it's a bit of soccer, occasionally with my friends, a little bit of football, and nothing too serious, like friendly football, a little bit of handball. Just a bit of
Handball?
everything,
I haven't really played handball much. Are you, Sydney?
I could get very competitive. I have to stop myself, honestly, from playing sometimes, but I can understand just having like a separation almost from the game. And I know you mentioned how, in terms of like competitive basketball, that you kind of came into just a bit later, and obviously you were recruited to join the team. What was the biggest learning curve you found yourself coming into such like a heavy, organized organization?
It's kind of like controlling my pace, because I was used to, like, in high school, being faster, more athletic than most guys, so I could kind of bank on that to uh, like take care of my weaknesses. But now I'm kind of reaching a wall where it's not enough to just be athletic. You got to make the right reads, when to use your athleticism, when to use your speed. So I feel like that's kind of like my biggest wall right now. We're climbing it slowly, so every step of the way.
Yeah.
Grant Caracas showing off her handles here. Her team's up by 8. Nice left-handed scoop finish from the hands of Kayla Sewell. We were talking to Fiona Madigan from Orangeville Prep about kind of the difference between the men's and women's game, and how, sometimes in the men's game you get more of those isolation matchups and you try and take advantage of those mismatches, where in the women's game it's kind of more true basketball, right? Team basketball, system basketball, and you got to be where you're supposed to be at all times. Do you find that the men's game is starting to get away from those one-on-one matchups and really focusing more on the overall team, or is that still kind of part of what the game is?
I feel like it really depends on the team. Like, I feel for our team at least, we try to kind of stay away from the ISO ball unless you really have that one-on-one matchup. But we want to kind of give up a good shot for a great shot, right? So if you could beat your guy, and like, instead of taking a contested lay, trying to find your teammate in the corner, and I guess in that sense, we're kind of, for our team at least, we're trying to stay away from the ISO ball and play team ball, but it really depends on the team.
Wienard with the 2. It's a 10-point game now. Jay Addison still ahead. Finding some good looks offensively. Both teams going deep into the shot clock. The turnover. Wienard has the pace, has the lane, left hand, and one opportunity, gets to finish the hoop in the harm and bringing her team right back in this Low Ellen Prep trail by 8 with the chance to make it 7. There's a timeout on the floor. Again, joining us here in the broadcast booth, Manset Lanny, the 6'2" guard, the 2027 guard. You guys have a younger team. I mean, I say younger team. You have one 2025, so one senior. Do you find, is there somebody who stands out to you on this team as kind of the go-to leader in terms of setting the bar for during practice, pregame, those types of things?
I would say most of our vets kind of fill that position. I'd have to give it to one of our vets, Jimmy. He's always there trying to keep our energy up, tell us to stay focused. But all of our vets really, they try to get our energy up, stay focused. Even like at the beginning of this week on Monday, already talking about we got games this weekend. We got to get our energy up in practice because it really carries down to here. But all of our vets do a very good job of kind of leading us. But if I got to name one, I'd say Jimmy.
Is there any practices that stick out to you in terms of being more heated than the rest of them, or something that maybe it's before a big game or a big tournament? Like, is there a practice that stands out to you to have that kind of edge?
I'd say like our practices like on the Wednesday is usually when we have the most like competition, most practicing our plays and running 5-on-5 situations. But other than that, like every single practice, we try to be as like competitive as possible, stay as focused as we can, be ready for that weekend.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, trying to replicate the game, the gameplay is tough, and things can get heated. But it's nice that when they do after practice, you can kind of put it aside, and I think it helps develop that chemistry too on the court when you can go through highly emotional practice and come away feeling a little bit more closer knit, right?
Exactly.
Another nice take from Guinar. That one comes up short. Low Ellen Prep unable to cut into this lead, now trail by 9 still, and a collision inside Papanasasiu. Thomas getting the charge called. Have you, what steps do you feel like your team has made so far? I guess it's pretty early on in terms of the goals of developing that chemistry and finding, the identity. Is there something that's kind of immediately standing out as like, this is something we need to lean into?
I can't really think of anything right now. I feel like for chemistry, since we all go in the same school, we see each other very often. We try hard to, if you got a break at the same time, hang out with your teammates. Even outside of practices, go out, get a little team dinner.
Yeah.
So I feel like we already have very good team chemistry, since it's like 50% vets, 50% rookies. Like the vets already know each other very well, the rookies know each other very well. So we're kind of just trying to mesh both groups. But other than that, there's nothing really that stands out to me that we've done. It's kind of it's been very natural.
Right,
getting
nice.
to know each other.
You followed the big news of the NBA last night?
With
Carl Anthony Towns. What are your thoughts? Immediate thoughts?
I mean, I'm trying to root for the Knicks this year. So it's a decent addition. We'll have to see how he does over there. It's not a bad trade.
No, I think Minnesota gets some money off the books, and then they get DiVincenzo, one of the best role players, back. Obviously, Julius Randle, one of those guys where you're not sure how he's going to fit in. You kind of want to see that play out. And they lost that big to OKC, who I actually kind of wrote off last year. I said, the Knicks aren't really going to go anywhere if another foul on the court here. If their starting big was going to be Isaiah Hartenstein, we know the injury history right there in New York with their starting center. So having Cat come in, he does have an injury history of his own, but he kind of gives them more stability at the center position.
Exactly.
Shots up off the front of the iron, and a fought for rebound jump ball as we approach 4:41 left in the opening half here at the Bill Crothers Secondary School 2024 OSBA Fall Showcase. Joining us in the broadcast booth, Mansett Lanny from Vanier College, the Cheetahs of Montreal, Quebec. Shots up near side, that's good. Off the hands of Kieran Brar. Now she's had a great first half and a pivotal part for this Jay Addison squad, and a big reason why they're up 12.
Final question we kind of have for you. We'll let you kind of get back to your team, away from the broadcast mindset. Is there anything specific that you would like to see? I know you mentioned from yourself slowing down your game. Are you really trying to do that in the games you have this weekend, or is that more so like a season-long goal that you have for yourself?
I'd like to kind of start it this weekend, right, to kind of start getting used to it. But I'm not trying to rush it too much. It's definitely a season-long goal, kind of trying to slow down my pace, get into the pull-up jumpers, stuff like that. But if I could start this weekend, that'll definitely be a good way to start the season.
Perfect. Well, and first of all, thank you very much for joining us. Fantastic. We're looking really fortunate to see you not only in this tournament, but the progression that you're able to make this season.
Thank you very much. Sir.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate the time. Enjoy the rest of the tournament, all right? We are now under the 4-minute mark here at the 1:30 tip-off. 3:50 remaining. And another player on deck joining us in the broadcast booth, gold medalist from the Team Ontario this summer, playing now with Orangeville Prep. Actually, we just chatted with Fiona Madigan from Orangeville Prep, and now bringing in Isaiah Lukuza. Welcome to the broadcast booth, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
How's your summer been since winning that gold medal?
It was a good summer. I think I got a lot of work in. I think I became a better player after that.
What were the things specifically you were looking to hone in on?
I think honestly working on my pace, especially after playing this summer for Team Ontario. I think that was something I had to work on, and becoming more of an efficient player. And that's it, really.
And I know it's, we've talked about it with a lot of people, but and more so for your case, the commitment level is just expected at a higher level now, especially that you're making your impact not only on the provincial stage, national stage, being invited to camps, but also you're starting to get offers from schools. How are you able to remain focused on the game in front of you when all this kind of outside noise is just starting to build up?
The thing, just making sure I'm staying focused all the time. My family, my parents, all of them always keeping me focused on what I have to do.
And in terms of like your start in basketball, did you kind of start from a young age, or did you pick it up kind of later? What was that for you?
I started playing basketball in grade 4, I think. That was the first time I played on an actual organized team.
Good steal on the back end, but stepping out of bounds was Grant Caracas, who's been a thorn in the side defensively to this Llewellyn Prep team. You know, a couple of the teammates from Team Ontario joining you at Orangeville, and I want to ask you about Ryder English, because he was on that Northwest Territories team, and somebody that you guys had to kind of put a body on in the second quarter when you played them, and what's it like playing alongside him and knowing what he can do?
It's been good. Ryder's a great guy, great player too. Playing along him has been really good. I think we've been working well together.
We were talking to Fiona Madigan, obviously from the women's team at Orangeville. She said she was going to, support the Orangeville teams when they're playing. And can you just talk a little bit about kind of the support from each side, like and how important that is in the basketball world to have the support of the fellow schoolmates and classmates and hoopers?
Yeah, I think from both the men and girls team, women's team, we've been supporting each other pretty well. We see each other in school all the time. So I think the support and all of that has been there. It's been pretty good.
We spent some time at the facilities there when we were doing the media day for the women for Team Ontario. Beautiful facilities, the indoor, outdoor, and have access to the gym and all that stuff. And actually the same day we were there, Andrew Wiggins was shooting a Quench commercial. So I think when you see that, you'll notice some of the backdrops there at Orangeville Prep. It's a nice gym to have and to play in, right?
It's been great, yeah.
Shots up just inside the three-point line. That's good from Sewell. Scratch that. Henry with the 2.
Obviously for yourself, there's not really a drop-off, especially when you play the amount of hours and consistently that you do. Yeah. Is there something that you're able to do to really stay healthy and stay consistent so that way you're able to perform at your highest level when you go to these camps, when you come to these tournaments? What's something that you really look to do to keep yourself sane during the season?
I think recovery is going to be a big part in this season, especially with all the basketball we're going to be playing. So I think making sure I'm keeping my body right by recovering after practice, before practice, things like that.
Do they teach you guys about nutrition and the importance of eating right and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
And that's tough, right? Like, I mean, as a growing man, you can kind of get away with eating stuff that maybe, us senior citizens, I want to say, shouldn't be eating. And being disciplined is a big part of it as well, right?
It's one big, yeah.
2:10 left in the second quarter. The lead now ballooned to 15 for Jay Addison, behind a couple of big buckets from Kayla Sewell and Zanae Henry, as we get another whistle on the floor.
I know it can be kind of hard, maybe like building team chemistry, especially as we mentioned too, you go up against from playing against your now current teammates. Is there anything that either coaches help do or that you guys do off the court as a team that's really able to kind of build that team camaraderie going into the year?
I think being around each other, like every day at school, after school practice, has been really good. It's been helping us gain team camaraderie, things like that. So I think that's been helping us out.
What are some of the things you guys do together outside of, playing basketball?
Outside of playing I think we've been just chilling in the lounge, talking, playing games sometimes. I think that's helped us out.
It's always nice to kind of step away from it, right, for a bit to get that refresher. We were talking to a couple of players to say, it can get, you kind of sometimes can lose the sight of the love for the game when you're really into it every single day. And especially in those very emotional times where maybe things aren't going right for you and you're trying to figure out a way to get back to being, the contributor that you want to be. Is there things that you kind of have in your routine that kind of reset for you and things or something that, brings you back to the root of the love for the game?
I think, honestly, I don't think I've ever lost it. I think it's just about making sure I stay on task and then remembering the goal and the end goal so that really all this work, it doesn't seem like work. It just seems like something that I want to do.
Is there any sort of league or team or person that you like to follow and somebody that you kind of want to model your career after or your game even?
I'm not too sure. I just really model my game after people that get their work done, really. Stay, high level scorers. That's something I would want to do.
I know obviously we mentioned too, there's a lot of players in this league that have been given the opportunity to compete for their province, but not a lot of people have been able to actually be invited to like the national camp. So one of my main questions is, for someone who isn't able to experience that, what is the biggest difference you find from going from the provincial level to then representing yourself at the national level?
I think just it's been the discipline when it comes to the national team. I think that's a big part, making sure you're always focused, all of that. And it still happens for the provincial team, but I think it's a different level on the national team.
Well, the game is growing specifically here in Ontario, but of course nationally we saw, some great competition back in August at York University. Obviously, plenty of opportunity for hoopers to continue to grow and develop and get to a stage where they're being pushed like a professional and being treated like a professional as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got a long season upcoming here. Obviously, I'm assuming the goal is championship, right? Like that's got to be the goal.
Yeah.
And you just got to take it week by week and day by day and just press each other to be better, right?
Yeah.
And, who do you find, and maybe it's yourself, who do you find is the go-to guy for keeping your team in line and focused on those goals?
Honestly, I feel like the team as one, we've been coming together. It's not been one guy or two guys. It's been all of us making sure we're all staying on track all the time.
It's good when you have that type of mentality and that approach. Obviously, you get more hands and everybody's, pumping each other up, which is great. 29.3 left. There's a timeout on the floor. It's a 13-point game in favor of Jay Addison over Low Ellen Prep from Sudbury. The big trek from Sudbury. How's this for commitment to basketball? We were talking to, was it Fiona, who said she used to travel from North Bay 8 hours to get to practice, and then 8 hours back.
That's a different type of level of commitment.
Yeah, and now she lives in residence.
Yeah.
Are you in residence? Are you at home?
Yeah, I've been staying at residence, going back home during the weekends.
Yeah, and where's home for you?
I live in Milton.
Milton, so not too far.
It's not too far.
And what's the residence life like?
It's been good. It's been good being with the teammates, coming back from school, having study hall, going to practice. Everything's been good and organized.
Everything's just right there, right? And do you live alone or you got roommates?
I have a roommate.
Who's that?
Max Macon.
Okay.
Came from Nova Scotia.
Oh, the East Coasters. I bet he's a friendly guy.
Yeah.
The East Coasters are very nice, eh?
Yeah.
They don't have much professional hoops out there. I think the biggest, the Dalhousie University gets a lot of fans, a lot of followership there. And they're competitive on the collegiate stage nationally every single year. Obviously, they're not the Carleton Ravens, but, they do get to the Nationals, and a beautiful stroke from deep. Ella McCarty with the three to bring it to a 10-point lead as we approach the final seconds here of the first half. Right into the lane, nice rejection there. Ella Sove gets a hand on it. 5 seconds left, got to get a shot up. One extra pass. Blocked at the top by Ava Williams, and that is how the half comes to an end. It's a 10-point lead for Jay Addison. We want to thank Isaiah Lacusa for coming and joining us in the broadcast booth. We only have 5 minutes to get lunch, so we got to cut this short. Thanks so much, Isaiah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. More 2024 OSBA Fall Showcase basketball coming up after this. All right, we set you for the second half of this game between Jay Addison and Lowell Prep right now. Jay Addison ahead by 10, and another quarter means another guest in the broadcast booth. This time it's Ist Van Reed, the 7-footer from 204 Elite. Winnipeg, Manitoba also participated in the Canadian National Championships for Manitoba at York University's Tate McKenzie Center. Ist Van, welcome into the broadcast booth. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Is this your first time doing a little broadcasting?
Yeah, it is.
Well, you are on the OSBA TV YouTube page, as all these games are being broadcast and then can be replayed for film breakdown. And we were talking to a couple players earlier about film breakdown. Is that something that you do a lot of and kind of get, the opportunity to learn from game footage?
Yeah, so this summer with Coach Dan, who coached the provincial team and also coaches 204, we did a lot of film, like almost before every practice, like 30 minutes. We were in the film room going over stuff from practice, from games, from other teams, like previous provincial teams, and watching what they did and just like trying to like be the best like that we could be.
Going back to August and participating in the Nationals, what did you take away from your experience there in terms of kind of the landscape of basketball here in Canada?
I just say like that in Canada, like, so there's a lot of talented players from like every province. Like you can't sleep on a province. You can't think like, oh, this is a smaller province, so it'll be an easy game. Every province has great players.
We definitely saw that this year, both here in Ontario and over in New Brunswick, where the women were playing, or sorry, Newfoundland, where the women were playing. Ontario did claim all 4 medals there. Now you're here in Ontario at this tournament. What do you think kind of Ontario has? Is it the population? Is it just the draw to the OSBA? It seems that they're, currently leading the pack.
Yeah, I think they have a really good basketball culture here. Like a lot of people want to play basketball here, and like there's a lot of great opportunities here, and like a lot of competition. Like everybody's coming for each other.
Yeah. No one lets up easy. We're talking about some of the practice scrimmages that get heated, and is that kind of the same? Do you guys look for that? Do you look for that kind of competition in practice to push you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Our coach Dan, he always like is yelling at us and like, getting us to like compete harder. Like he wants us to like be competing like 100% every practice.
Do you have any practices that stand out where maybe things kind of got a little too heated?
Not really. Dan's pretty good at keeping us cool, but like he does like get on us a lot to like compete harder, but like in a good way. Like,
I know you obviously can talk about the obvious with the height advantage that you would have, because it's not common where you'll see a lot of like 7-foot tall players playing in the same league as you. But a question I do have though is, you'd think instinctually
he just really gives us like a lot of opportunities to just like do what we're good at. But it's a lot. I think like over like whatever like 2 months we've been practicing, like I've just like been challenged with it. I've gotten better, and I just keep getting challenged more, and like keeps making it harder. And I think that just helps me keep getting better.
Again, it's Ist Van Reed from 204 Elite joining us here in the broadcast booth as we approach the 6-minute mark of the Jay Addison Lowell Prep game. The lead now up to 14 for Jay Addison. Something that Sydney and I have been talking about a lot this weekend, kind of in that big position. One of the frustrating things for us to watch is when you catch it in the paint, up top, and then decide to bring it down for a single bounce. What does Coach Dan say about that, the catch it high, keep it high mentality for the big men?
Oh yeah, he definitely agrees with that catch it high, keep it high mentality, and like he also like really tries to drill me like just that dunk, try to be aggressive. And I think that's like a big like part of my game that I took a step this year, because before like I wasn't so aggressive, and then like started working with Dan a lot, and I think he's just really helped me become more aggressive. And like I think I'm starting to see it in games too. Like yesterday I had 2 poster dunks and 1, and I think it's really just like becoming a part of my game now.
I'll never know what it feels like to dunk on somebody.
But it's okay, because we get to like live vicariously through him when he does it right on the floor.
Maybe if we ever get down on the court together, Sven, I'll have you lift me up, and I can get a dunk in maybe. I don't know. I have to shed some pounds first maybe. I don't know. 16-point is the lead as Sydney Scrowboat downhill with a left-handed finish. Pretty basket. Big weekend of hoops here at the 2024 OSBA Fall Showcase. Obviously, a lot of Ontario teams. We've got some teams from Quebec and obviously teams from Winnipeg, Manitoba. What's the pulse of basketball in Winnipeg? I know the Sea Bears play there in the summertime for the CEBL, and they have some pretty good crowds that come out. What is the pulse like around the city of Manitoba in the game of basketball?
I think the game of basketball there is like been growing quite a bit recently. Like the Sea Bears, like as you mentioned, they have like a huge fan base there. And then also like the university teams there, like they've gotten a pretty big fan base.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, when you don't have the professional sport year-round, because I guess Winnipeg just has it for the 2 months of the CEDL season, you do have to rely on the university programs because there aren't a lot of club programs to go out and support. Shot up from the near side, a little too far from Skroba. Henry traipsing down the side, gives it up. Sewell, that's off the mark. A little bit of a back and forth quarter here as Skrobot settles things down over the timeline. Switched on to Amaya Moses, gets around, and there is a whistle on the floor.
We talk a lot about team success, and just kind of the final question that we have for you. What is something that you would like to see yourself personally achieve, not only in this tournament, but during the duration of the regular season?
I think I just want to like become more of a leader on my team and like just work on like my communication and just helping lead my team through like what tough game or something like that, or not playing the best. Like just really lead my team, keep their spirits high, and just like become like closer with the guys on the team.
Perfect. And once again, thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to not only seeing you in this tournament, but also during the duration of the season.
Thank you so much, Istan. We appreciate the time. As we approach 4 minutes left in the third quarter. Whip pass to the far side, and he picking up the dribble. Belair hands it off, down low. Elisov, and it's going to be a double dribble, so turnover on the court. And we got to keep them coming. We got to keep them coming. More and more interviews, because this season, OSBA basketball is bringing you closer to the players, to the content, behind the scenes footage. We've got you locked in for the 2024-2025 OSBA season. Second chance opportunity, rims around and out for Leah Almashni. And Low Ellen Prep now on the hunt for more points. Dancing with it over the timeline. Skrobot from the near side attacking, into trouble. Kicks it back out. Violet Humble, no. And that's going to be an over the back foul. Jay Addison in possession. 3:36 left. Quarter number 3 here on a beautiful Saturday. Supposed to rain, and the rain held out. Sun's starting to peek through. We are spending our day in just outside of Markham, Bill Crothers Secondary School. We are here until about 9 o'clock tonight. All right, we are
Players coming in, they're really getting their reps into this tournament. Obviously, you guys, you're hosting this tournament. Have you been able to get in any games or exhibition games before going into this as a team? I know you kind of have like a lot of practices within the school unit, but have you been able to really test it before this tournament?
For today, it was like our first game, so we were still trying to figure out and see like everyone's talents and like the chemistry within the team, you know. So it was kind of rough at the start, but we were able to pull it together at the end.
I mean, you just wrapped it up, and now you're up here joining us. Walk us through that final possession and what a big block at the very end of that game to secure the W.
I mean, it was great. We played hard defense to get coming down from transition, so I needed to pick up the ball. Luckily, Bevo came in the way and blocked it just to save the game before the buzzer went off and the 3 went out.
You look at terms of like a team mentality and really getting down to your rotations. And I know it's kind of easy to really fall into like the solo basketball, but it seemed that during the entirety of the game that you guys really tried to fall back on the plays that you had set. Has that really been something that your coaches have been like kind of instilling in you guys, is just to rely on the plays that you have at your disposal?
Yeah, Coach Dave and Coach Hughes always tells us to run the sets properly because the sets always work. You know, if you use the sets, it should end up going really good at the end, you know.
I didn't see Use in the building today. Is he around?
Oh, nah, not today.
Not today. You know, he obviously was the head coach of the Ontario team to win the gold medal. Has he been able to, you know, use that experience to teach you guys kind of or give you some advice on what it really takes to win and to compete at the high level?
Yeah, Coach Hughes always tells us a good winning team always has to play good and hard defense, you know. And I felt like he brought that over from on the Ontario team to Bill Crothers and makes us a nice winning team at the end of the day. He always spreads the good knowledge that he learned and everything.
My experience with Coach Hughes is he's kind of been, straightforward, stoic, kind of has, a calm, cool, collected composure regardless of the situation. Do you find that trickles down onto the players?
Never. Because Coach Hughes always tells us, like, always bring the intensity and the energy level always high because he's not going to bring it up for us,
It's kind of been a question we've asked all the athletes, and I'll ask it to yourself as well. The schedule's hard. Like, you wake up every day, and it's a set schedule from the time you come to school to the time you leave. There's school, there's practices, everything in between. It's easy to kind of get complacent and maybe to kind of just get lost in the process. What's something that you're able to do to really switch your mindset to remain focused on every practice and every game like it's the first time you're ever doing it?
I would have to say stay consistent. It's always good to stay consistent with what you do, follow the routine, and repeat it every day so you can become great one day.
How about that three from Sydney Scrobot? Shaq, how do you feel about analysis? You want to try your hand at a little bit of basketball analysis right now? I'll do the play-by-play, and then when I give you the thumbs up, you let me know how the play developed, all right?
Okay.
Grand Karak is getting double-teamed now, has to hand it off top side. Kayla Sewell working on one, gets the screen, ignores the screen working to the left, into trouble, has to get a shot up. How about that defense there, Lowell and Prep?
That was great defense just now. The help came, blocked the gaps, and made sure no one can get through. So they ended up with the steal at the end of the day on the fast break. Now they just got fouled for them to take the ball.
Well, there you said, everything starts on defense. Yeah. Lowell and Prep here trailing by 8. They got to get that defensive stop to get back on the offense. Yeah. And now, they do have the chance for a 2-for-1. What are your thoughts on the 2-for-1?
I feel like they can get it off, It's always possible when it's an intense, hard game,
Good defense from the other side now. Jay Addison, some time and space at the top, heading downhill. Sove with the scoop score. That's pretty. Patience was key on that take right there, right?
Yeah.
15 seconds left in the quarter. Sewell hands it off on the near side now. Papanasasiu Thomas kicks it back out. One more pass to the top. It's going to be Henry holding for the last shot. Downhill into double coverage. And one opportunity. How about that? Moving downhill into two. The hook shot finish for the and one opportunity. That's the hook shot's not an easy shot.
Not at all. It takes a whole lot of balance, actually precise and accuracy to get it off the backboard to get into the rim.
Did that hit the backboard?
Yeah.
It did, okay.
See, he has good eyes from up here.
Yeah, he does.
Like, the great analysis.
Well, I got the corrective lenses, right? So 0.7 seconds left. It is a 9-point game heading into the fourth quarter. We want to thank Shaq for joining us here in the broadcast booth. Good job on the analysis, by the way. If we hope you make all your goals come true and we make it to the top level. But even if you do after you retire, you definitely have some upside in the broadcast game.
Thank you.
All right, enjoy your weekend, sir. We appreciate it.
You too.
We'll step aside for a quick break and bring you fourth quarter action here from Bill Crothers Secondary School. The 2024 OSBA Fall Showcase rolls on after this. The final 8 minutes underway here between Lowell and Prep, who trail by 9 over against J. Addison. Lowell and Prep with the first chance on the offensive side. It's Sydney Scrobo at the top. 7 seconds left on the shot clock. Amaya Moses swallows up that entry pass and draws a foul on Michaela Tripp.
I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit nervous by the excitement that every person we've had who's given the opportunity to interview, to commentate, and they're kind of good at it.
Yeah.
I'm not so much like upset that they're good at it. I'm upset because that means my job is in question.
Your job's not in question. You've got great insight, and you break it down for the viewers in a real way. Extra pass, good closeout, and back to Henry off the front of the iron. Scrobot with the rebound, knocked out of bounds. Lowell and Prep maintain possession.
I also think it's pretty cool, though, when you give, because again, they're so immersed, every single person we've had to talk to, they're so immersed in playing and training and competing that when you give them the opportunity to just talk about basketball and have fun, like I know obviously not everybody was able to see you could probably hear it in their voices, the smile that was on their face when they're commentating, when they're watching the sport from an up angle that we kind of get to watch it at all this weekend. It's just a different environment, and it's fun, and I think it kind of just brings a bit more joy and excitement back into the game.
Absolutely. A little change up of pace is absolutely fun sometimes. And it can be scary, right? But you get over that pretty quickly once you get comfortable and you just realize you're just talking hoops at the end of the day. Trying to do it herself, Violet Humble gets blocked at the top. Amaya Moses with another rejection.
Now focusing back onto this game, Moses, we just saw a fantastic block. The aggression has finally shown through during this game. I think she's more so finding herself, and again, it's a completely new roster. Allow her that grace to kind of find her own, and I think she's doing that, and honestly, I would see her more as a leader on this team, if anything. Going on with Scrobot, too, she mentioned how she's really falling more into that point guard role. We haven't seen her bring the ball up as much. It's more so maybe having the play go through her. But I would like to see just a touch more consistency in her post movement, because she does have that ability with her the short game as well. So I just want to see that added on to the ability she already has to carry the ball.
It's Sewell at the top in an isolation matchup. Step back, Jimmy gets her own rebound, and that's why you follow your shot. Second chance points, unfortunately, didn't drop and coughed up by Humble. Here's Brar now with it. Picks up the dribble, going to reset. Grant Caracas at the top. Walks into a three off the back of the iron. Humble going for the rebound, but falls out of bounds while having possession. 4 seconds remain on the shot clock for Jay Addison, looking to add to this lead.
Also something to point out as well, even though Jay Addison's remained with the lead during the entirety of the game, Lowell and Prep's been slowly chipping away at it. But in saying that, Jay Addison hasn't really been adding a lot of points onto the scoreboard. So whatever Llewellyn's doing, it's working. They just haven't been able to score to really and truly make it effective.
2 minutes played here in the fourth quarter. No points scored yet. They reset the shot clock to 14. And Grant Caracas moves downhill. Papanasasiu Thomas steps in from the three-point line, tries to use the backboard. No. Lowell and Prep now with a chance to cut into the 9-point lead. Good display of ball handling. The ball finds its way back across the court. Good swing action. Scrobot from three. That's far. Saved. Lowell and Prep, 4 seconds on the shot clock. They got to get a shot up. Quickly blocked again. Moses with the block. Shot clock violation, so play will stop. And back-to-back possessions. Amaya Moses there for the rejection.
Coach right now is trying to say, or trying to explain to the ref that yes, the shot clock violation was in play, but they had possession, so he's hoping for a continuance there.
Sienna Papanasasiu Thomas working on one to the left. Good defense and help defense by Alessia Valili. Grant Caracas gets her shot blocked. That time the block coming from Scrobot. Another out of bounds whistle. We'll pause play here as we await the first point scored in the fourth quarter. 9-point lead, Jay Addison ahead. Up next, Kings Christian versus Capital Courts, the women's team. Papanasasiu Thomas to the left. Another rejection, that time coming from Sarah Guignard, who has it now in the front court. Pass down to the corner, sets the screen, time and space. Shot is up, but off the mark from Kirsten Goudreau. And now it's Papanasasiu Thomas ahead of the pack. Right before the three-point line, she stops and pops and misses. Skrobot trying to corral the loose ball, gets it to a teammate, hounded by 3 black jerseys, but somehow keeps the dribble alive. Sydney Skrobot working on Kayla Sewell. Lulls her to sleep, tries to bounce pass, but that's swallowed up. And the other way, Kieran Brar. It's a 1-on-2. Brar, jump stop, kicks it out, shots up, near iron. Skrobot with the rebound.
Some really fast plays. I don't know if it's sustainable. Both teams are really coming down and not using the shot clock. I think they're shooting with, on average, about 15 seconds left. It takes your time. Slow it down. Set something up.
That play results in an out of bounds. Low Ellen Prep get the ball. And we have a timeout on the floor. 4 minutes left, so we are halfway through the fourth quarter. Still looking for the first basket of the final 8 minutes here.
Something that Llewellyn is doing on the offensive end, and it's not working, and I really hope that it can maybe be fixed. They set the screen. It's a good screen, but the person who's setting the screen is rolling up. So you're not causing any movement on defense, because if I'm defending that, if the person I'm guarding sets a screen and then just floats up, I'm not going to follow them well beyond the three-point line. I'm going to stay where I am. So again, that collapses the middle, and it makes my job easier on defense, which is why Jay Addison's able to get so many interceptions and they're able to get so many blocks, because they're already in the middle of the court. They're in the middle of the key. I think what Llewellyn needs to just do a little bit better of a job of is their rotation on offense is good, but when you set that screen, use it and have someone roll down, because that's also the purpose of a screen, is to space the floor and create those offensive chances. But if you just allow yourself to completely be taken out of the play, you're doing a disservice to the offensive rotation, but you're also making it easier for the team that's trying to guard you on defense.
Stack formation beyond the three-point arc. A little early on the motion. Ball finds its way in, and a good job to get closer to the basket. Sarah Guignard using the first bounce and the step to get inside access, finishing the play, and now it is a 7-point game. Ooh, Grant Caracas with a beautiful dribble to shake her defender. Fouled going up. So Jay Addison just from down the road in Markham. Low Ellen Prep coming all the way from Sudbury, Ontario, the Nickel City. Home of the Sudbury Wolves, home of the Sudbury Five.
A lot of sports rotating in that Sudbury.
That's
Soccer, basketball, hockey.
Lacrosse.
Lacrosse, yep.
Is lacrosse still considered a national sport?
I mean, I don't know. I think basketball is kind of coming for the title a little bit. I know it was, but.
Sure, it was lacrosse and hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Grant Caracas picks up the dribble. 7 seconds on the shot clock. The entry pass finds Ava Williams. Travel, even though the left-handed scoop basket went through. We have a travel called. Low Ellen Prep now another chance to bring the deficit smaller. Ellie Sove over the timeline. Has the screen. Uses the screen. Kicks it to the shooter, but that one hits Grant Caracas in the hand, and Papanasasiu Thomas with the easy lay-in on the run out. Here's a chance for Low Ellen Prep. No one's there. It's a 1-on-2. Extra pass. Guignard will head back to the free throw line. Shooting 2.
Jay Addison caught watching a little bit there. I think they were slow. They were admiring the layup a bit too much. They were slow getting back in transition.
And I think good decision as well from Alessia Valili, who saw that the defenders were closing in on her and promptly got the pass into the path of Sarah Guignard, who makes the first of 2 free throws here from the free throw line. 39-47, Low Ellen Prep trail. And we're back to a 7-point game, 3:02 left in this one. The next game coming up, Kings Christian, Capitol Courts here from Bill Crothers Secondary School as part of the 2024 OSBA Fall Showcase. Henry into the paint, gets some space. Sydney Scrobot now with a chance. It's 5-on-4. Pass ahead. Has time and space. Shooter on the near side. Nice entry pass. Another pass just too hot to handle. It's a run out. Abrielle Grant Caracas, Sydney Scrobot. Foul called as Scrobot went for the block.
That was hard. I know we talked about some players really fall back into that pass-first mentality. Even if you have a pass-first mentality, it will help you to take that split second to hold the ball and to look. I think sometimes we get so caught up in, oh, we got to rotate it, we got to get the ball moving. And yes, you do. But if you take a second to look, there wasn't really anybody immediately on her back either. So she did have the option to pivot and turn maybe for a shot, driving it in, rather than just dishing it out to the top. Next time, maybe take your time on transition. Understand that you have the use of the floor.
Also, the passer, the inbound, or the entry passer needs to let her know that she's got time, right? Time,
Exactly.
time, shoot, shoot, shoot. Another strong move to the basket, Sarah Guignard. It's an 8-point, it's a 6-point game now, 2-possession game. The 3 is up. Grant Caracas off the front of the iron, and there are 2 white jerseys closing in on it. It's Sydney Scrobot away with it, kind of losing it at the timeline. Grant Caracas comes up with it, and she sends Kayla Sewell ahead of the pack. Henry from 3. No. Low Ellen Prep. There is still plenty of time in this game, trailing by 6. Fancy ball handling skills here. Abrielle Grant Caracas knocks it out of bounds, where Low Ellen Prep will have it on the side out after this short timeout. 1:47 left. So Low Ellen being able to get down inside the paint and assert some dominance. Sarah Guignard has been using that length to get to the rack. Big part of the surge here late in the game to get Low Ellen back within striking distance. Jay Addison can continue to look for number 7, Amaya Moses, to counter that on the other side. Kirsten Goudreau has it out on the sideline. A couple of unmarked players for Low Ellen on the far side. Down into the corner. Zone defense here, shown by Jay Addison. Whip pass, far side. Violet Humble. Deep 3 off the backboard and through. 1:40 remaining. It is now a 1-possession game. 3-point lead for Jay Addison. Sienna Papanasasiu Thomas into the front court, gives it up. Grant Caracas now working on Humble. Henry downhill. Nice block and way to alter the shot there, Sydney Scrobot. And there is a player down. It is Sarah Guignard. Maybe just shaken up as she sits up. We didn't see what happened. Could have been a non-contact injury. She is up under her own power. Able to walk. Don't see a limp or anything. Maybe just a tight muscle in the leg. Gets a round of applause as she heads to the bench. Happy to see that that's nothing serious. Low Ellen Prep baseline out of bounds with the chance to either make it a 1-point game or tie it. Grant Caracas with hounding defense, knocking that ball loose. Here's Scrobot now. And we're seeing an over and back. So that's interesting because she was in the air when she caught it, landed on the line.
It's hard sometimes. I think sometimes, yeah, you know?
It is hard. It's hard
It's
a
hard.
lot of the
It's
time.
hard sometimes, you know?
Especially when the line gets cut off and isn't
See,
going through the logo.
that's exactly what I should have said. When you can't see the line, it's hard.
Good hands in the passing lanes here from Lowell and Prep, making it hard to get the ball around the key. 7 seconds left on the shot clock. And that turnover, and it turned right back over. Amaya Moses then throws it out of bounds, except the baseline official and the half-court official are going to say it was touched last by Lowell and Prep. Sewell kicks it back out. Sienna Papanasasiu-Thomas. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Shot clock violation. 43.9, and yet another opportunity here for Lowell and Prep to cut into this lead. What will they do? A little bit careless with the last chance, and now they have a lot of time and space on the far side. No one in front of her. Grant Caracas coming back with the steal, and just like yesterday, being the difference maker on the defensive side of the ball. Shuffling the feet, nothing called there. Papanasasiu-Thomas working to the left-hand side. 3 seconds left on the shot clock. She gets downhill. The extra pass bailed out by a push in the back. Baseline out of bounds. Shot clock resets to 14. There's 20.6 left on the game clock.
I don't know if anyone else was able to hear Coach Francis as loud as I was, but he was yelling at Papanasasiu-Thomas to go to the ball. She's the point guard. The play has to go through her.
And one opportunity for Sienna Papanasasiu-Thomas could just be the dagger in this game. 11.5 remaining, 11.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. It is now a 5-point lead, 2-possession game. Make it 6-point lead. Lowell and Prep, Sydney Scrobot pushing the pace up the court. What a pass. The basket just too short. Nothing happening there. Maya Moses going to hand it off to Papanasasiu-Thomas. And this game will end. J. Addison win 51-45 as we step aside. Tip-off in 13 minutes between Kings Christians women and Capital Courts. We'll be back with more 2024 OSBA Fall Showcase basketball shortly.